The beginning. A story about Alvin Kelby. My mom passed away in the summer I turned 6 and left a single father and his son. But Dad had the bookstore with the leaky roof to fix, so I was on my own, facing the unknown, the terrifying prospect of grade 1. But at the time, how was I to see? A kind and gentle soul was waiting there for me. Mrs. Remington, our first grade teacher, made elementary school a better place. But her single most disturbing feature was the coarse black hair on her face. Now maybe she was menopausal, lacking estrogen would cause a lot of odd conditions, some acute. The irony would never faze her, namesake of a famous razor, and to be so facially hirsute. Mrs. Remington smiled, and it would brighten my day. Back then a teacher hugged you to make you feel okay, but my face sort of stung from Mrs. Remington's beard. But when she held me, my problems disappeared. Mrs. Lynch was an ignoramus, Mr. Pollock was just plain mean. Mrs. Remington was nearly famous for her parties at Halloween. Pumpkin heads of every shape were cut out of construction paper, each and every one would be displayed. Well, the highlight for the children was to make a really special costume for the yearly Halloween parade. And Mrs. Remington smiled as she was clearly content, as she lovingly presided over this, the main event, and we'd nervously walk past her critical eye as we vied for Mrs. Remington's top prize. There was this one kid wearing cardboard wings, a coat hanger halo, carrying a bell, and a homemade book that said Tom Sawyer on it. Now nobody had any idea what he was supposed to be, except me. Ooh, Mrs. Remington! Pamela Koshin thought he was the Statue of Liberty. Oh, Mrs. Remington, I know! Donnie Carter thought he was a Thanksgiving turkey. Mrs. Remington, I know! He's Clarence, the angel from It's a Wonderful Life. He was my mother's favorite. The class laughed, I cried, and Mrs. Remington announced that I was next. But Mrs. Remington smiled in that way that she had, a smile that made you realize that things were not so bad. And I knew from her face that this feeling would pass, so I went to take my turn before the class. Now those poor kids were still trying to figure out who the heck Clarence was when I shuffled on the platform wearing fuzzy slippers, a bathrobe, and pink sponge curlers in my hair. Alvin Kelby, Mrs. Remington said, and what are you supposed to be? I'm a ghost. The ghost of my mother. Lunch that day was awful lonely, sitting by myself and only wearing fuzzy slippers and chenille. While all the kids were making fun, in came Mrs. Remington, with Clarence dragging slowly on her heel. Clarence, she said, I'd like you to meet Mrs. Kelby. She's a big fan of yours. Mrs. Remington smiled, for Mrs. Remington knew that the battlefield of childhood was easier with two. And Mrs. Remington watched as the